Political strategist James Carville is absolutely furious with Joe Biden, and he can't stop talking about it. He's furious with Biden, Kamala Harris, and the entirety of the Democratic Party.
In this video, Ana Kasparian of the Young Turks plays a clip of Democrat strategist James Carville discussing the Democrat Party's strategies. Ana Kasparian agrees with Carville as he points out that the Democrats never learn their lesson and continue to make the same mistakes. With that, let's watch Ana Kasparian, with an assist from James Carville, torch the Democrat Party.
Quit keeping their head in the cloud and talking goofy language that no one else talks. So we got to be, nice to people. Screw that, run over them.
Political strategist James Carville is absolutely furious with Joe Biden, and he can't stop talking about it. He's furious with Biden, Kamala Harris, and the entirety of the Democratic Party. He wants winners, and when he looks at the Democratic Party right now, he sees losers. During an interview with Margaret Hoover, Carville did not pull any punches, slamming Biden for refusing to drop out of the race sooner and ripping the party for running unpopular candidates.
We ran a presidential election. If we were playing a Super Bowl, we started our 7th string quarterback. That's what happened. Okay, you can't address a problem unless you're honest about a problem. And none of this was inevitable. Never should have happened. It was not inevitable. Joe Biden stands over this disaster like a colossus. I mean, he just does. You can't. He's a great guy. James, you shouldn't say that. He's a wonderful man. Who cares? If you don't win a damn election, you've done nothing. Zip, de nada. You don't count. I don't care how good a man you are. Until Democrats learn that and quit keeping their head in the cloud and talking goofy language that no one else talks, so we got to be, nice to people. Screw that, run over them.
For those as ignorant about football as I am, 7th string quarterback is bad. Cenk.
Yes, that would be the 7th person that you would put in if all other 6 are out. Look, I'm beginning to love James Carville. So historically, we've been on slightly different sides of the political spectrum within the Democratic Party. He's been more on the establishment side. I've been more on the populist side. But one thing I've always respected about James Carville, and definitely throughout this election, was that he doesn't pull any punches and he loves to win. He's obsessed with winning. Great, wonderful. We need people who are obsessed with winning on our side. Because if you don't win the election, then you don't get to do policy. And the only thing that matters is policy, because that affects your life. Everything else is just ego games, okay? So, and he's speaking truth to power here. Now, remember, if you're on the establishment side is
the Democrats aren't obsessed with winning. What Democrat Party you've been following, Cenk? The Democrats are obsessed with winning. They just have zero concept of what an everyday American is thinking and what's important to them. Because the leadership and the politicians of the Democrat Party think they're better than the average American. And they expect the average American to fall in line with their lunacy. And when people who kept voting Democrat over and over and over never got any return on the investment of their vote, they finally said, let's try something else. And James Carville's right. He said using language that people don't understand. And Cenk is saying, I'm starting to agree with this guy. I don't like James Carville or Cenk, but he's just telling the truth there. You're telling people to call women men and men women and use specific pronouns. You tried to make the Latin X thing work. People are just trying to live their lives. This isn't stuff they should have to concern themselves with. But the Democrat Party is obsessed with it because they need to put people in groups. But it doesn't matter what James Carville says. For the foreseeable future, at least from what I've seen in the Democrats' actions since the election, they haven't learned a thing. They just keep doing the same thing over and over. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Carville has been for a long time. Normally, you protect your sacred cows, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. And he's done with that. And that's why I say I'm beginning to love James Carville. So calling Kamala Harris 7th string quarterback, I've never seen that ever. Normally after an election, they're like, oh, no, Kamala Harris ran a perfect campaign. Well, they did do that on MSNBC. Okay. Flawless campaign. How do you run a flawless campaign and lose? Anyway, so he's not pulling any punches when it comes to establishment candidates. And that is kind of revolutionary. He's saying go populist.
Yeah.
I don't know if he believes it, but that's huge.
Don't step on his lines.
Okay, all right. So we'll get to it in a second. Then, I mean, he took Biden's head off there.
Yeah, he did.
And this is not Johnny come lately, because he was one of the rare guys who's trying to push Biden out when we all started trying to push Biden out. He came a little bit after Young Turks, but I'll take it. And he was one of the early ones. And it's important for guys that are respected in the establishment. They're like, oh, Young Turks, they're outsiders, Bernie people, right? But for when Carville says it, they're like, oh, wait, Carville won a national election.
I don't know. Like, look, they're still inviting him to be part of these discussions and these debates, and he's still out there saying what he wants to say. But my experience has been Democratic Party doesn't take kindly to critics and typically pushes them out. So I don't know if they still respect him.
See, no, here's the thing, Anna. There's now not just that there is no one leader, which everybody's lamenting. I'm ecstatic. I don't want an anointed leader who comes in and pushes people like Carville out. But not only do they not have a leader anymore, because Kamala Harris is like, doing word salads at home. Biden has dementia. There's nobody in charge. Jeffries is super weak. Chuck Schumer's 98 years old. So I like that they are actually missing the entire leadership, because then there's no one to cancel people like Carville, right? There's no one to say, hey, I'm gonna push out everyone who disagrees. I'm going to anoint, etc. So, and in that vacuum, we can push folks to pick a populist leader instead of the same old establishment leaders. So that's why I like that. So Tricia, I wanna come back to the nonsense words that he talked about in a second. And then if you're on the left, you might.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. By putting Kamala Harris up for the presidency, the Democrat Party believed that she was their best option, which shows how foolish they are and how out of touch they are. But they didn't put her up there because they didn't think they could win. They honestly thought that Kamala Harris would give them a better opportunity to win the election than Joe Biden. Now, when I say they, who am I talking about? I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about these non-elected bureaucrats that installed Kamala Harris. Yeah, this is the party that says the Republican Party is authoritarian. But whenever they determine democracy isn't necessary to advance their quest for more power, they do whatever they want, and the lemmings just lap it up. I mean, you had an entire party saying how wonderful Joe Biden is. Then he did a terrible debate, and everyone's telling you how wonderful Kamala Harris is, who, by the way, at that time had like the lowest approval rating in the history of vice presidential candidates, or close to it. Point is, no one was looking for Kamala Harris until the establishment told the Democrat Party, she's the best. They were like, oh, she is? We thought she sucked. Okay, yeah, she's great. Let's vote for her. And Anna and Cenk are both right. There is nobody right now that's remotely desirable to anyone to vote for, especially in the presidential race. Who are they going to vote for? Nancy Pelosi? Was she 100 years old? Who are they going to vote for? Gavin Newsom, who screws up every single thing that he touches. Chuck Schumer, who's worth about $100 million and just stays in his seat to make more money. I mean, maybe they should dig up Beto O'Rourke. Remember that guy? What the hell is he doing now? He was supposed to be like their future, remember? Or are they going to try to tell us again that Pete Buttigieg is the future of the party? Good luck. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
And not like what I have to say about that, but
yeah.
But Anna, go ahead.
Well, okay, so he obviously has a lot of criticism for the Democratic Party, for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, but does James Carville have any solutions? Well, he did offer some up. Let's take a look.
First of all, she got Joe Biden's campaign. That's it. They got the keys. They have the same managers, same strategists, same headquarters, same artwork, same computer system, same bathroom. That is not good. You don't even have your own people. Then you can't have lobbyists running presidential campaigns. So they said we can't run on a minimum wage. Minimum wage hadn't been raised since 2009. It's $7.25. We couldn't say we're gonna do away with tax breaks for people who make over $400,000 and take that money and help young people buy a house or get an education or rent a house, because we were all conflicted. And people say, you think you should move to the left? You think you should move to the right? Move to, like, giving people a raise. What is that? That's what people want. Give them something. We refuse to do that. We sit there and we tell people how good the economy is. Meanwhile, you got these kids here paying, $300,000 for an education, and I got these assholes in Washington tell me how good I have it?
Stop allowing the lobbyists to run the Democratic Party.
Yes.
Yummy in my tummy. He continued on to call for Democrats to run on raising wages, making healthcare affordable, promoting vocational schooling, trade schools, and improving public transportation, which would, require ensuring that people are safe on public transportation as well, rather than identitarianism. And he argued that Democrats need to stop speaking to people as if they're morally and intellectually superior.
Ding, 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 ding. Exactly right.
It's going to be hard to convince a party that believes in their heart that they are genuinely better than everybody else to stop speaking to people as if they're morally superior. And even the solutions that James Carville suggested, focusing on healthcare, increasing wages, public transportation, whatever else I said, these are things Democrats have talked about forever, and they never, ever deliver on any of them when they have the opportunity. So why would people believe any candidate says, okay, now I'm going to do it? You just can't trust the Democrats. And by the way, he's right, they need to get away from the identity politics, but all of the things he listed still didn't speak exactly to what the American people were worried about. The number one issue was the economy. You needed a solid plan to how you're going to get us out of the mess that the Biden administration has gotten us in. That's the problem. I think James Carville said there's something like it wasn't inevitable that we'd lose, we screwed it up basically, but I disagree with that. Maybe not inevitable, but they put in a lot of work over the last 4 years to ensure that they wouldn't win this last election. And then the party did absolutely nothing to help their case leading up to the presidential election. But we want to hear from you. What do you all think about what James Carville said and Anna and Cenk's commentary? Let us know. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.